things. Now, this morning I read a story in the New York Times about Harold Coe and how I have just taken this poor man out of context, how I've been smearing him. President Obama's pick to become one of the State Department's top lawyers has ignited fury among his critics. This according to the New York Times. I guess I'm one of them now. His legal views are a threat to American democracy, I believe. Jay Sekulow is here. He's the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice. You know what, Jay, I want to be really, really clear here, and I want to make sure we get all the facts exactly right, because the New York Times is an apologist for this guy, and they say, oh, that Glenn Beck is, oh, well, he's just crazy. Quote, this is just an attempt to whip up hysteria. So tell me a little bit, in this man's own words, tell me who he is.
He's a trans-nationalist. He believes that United States sovereignty and our judicial sovereignty should be subservient to the European Union or to the United Nations. I mean, if you look at what he's written, this is not, by the way, you know, some are criticizing, Glenn, that we're using this term transnational as if it's pejorative. This is the terms he uses. Yeah. He's written the law review articles that say he's a trans-nationalist. And what I want everybody to understand is what Justice Scalia said about 15 years ago. When the United States Supreme Court is determining whether something is constitutional or not, they are expounding on a constitution. Europe does not have a constitution, so applying European standards to the United States Constitution basically takes our United States Constitution and makes it a local law only to be superseded by the European Union. And I litigate cases in Europe. Okay, so look, here's the thing. So people understand what transnationalism is. And again, it's not a dirty word, and this is how he describes himself. Absolutely. What it means is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is a evolutionary law. We no longer open up a textbook, go to any college and study the law. You're not going to see the quotes from the founding fathers or anything from the Constitutional Convention. You're going to see case law. This started in the 1920s, if I'm not mistaken. And what happened is they started saying, wait a minute, evolution. If evolution is real, well then people evolve. So must our understanding of things, and so must the law. So now they just look to the future and kind of sum, and we continue to move forward. Now it's moving into other nations. Correct or not? It's even more, yes, it is correct, but it's even more than that. And you mentioned the Darwinian aspect of this. It does have a Darwinian base in that over time, universal norms come into existence, and even where you have a national sovereignty, a United States Constitution, that document no longer becomes the charter document upon which the government in the United States is to operate. And we have to meet these systems from foreign countries and apply that to the United States. And here's the real danger of this, and this is the danger. Now, here's the danger. Dean Coe's a smart guy. Don't listen. No one should not question that he's an intelligent guy. But what he is proposing is to take the State Department. He's not going to be a senior lawyer at the State Department. He is going to be the lawyer at the State Department, the chief counsel. And he is basically saying, we take our American experience, and if it doesn't mess with the rest of the world wins. And that, frankly, is, a lot of people are calling this lawfare. It's utilizing the law as a weapon. Oh, yeah. And that's where you've got to be very, very concerned.
And America, you know this. When they can't get you to vote for something, they kick it up to the into the legal system. If they can't win in the legal system, they kick it up to the United Nations or to the EU or whatever. Yeah. That's the way it works.
And you really have to watch the UN issue here, because, and we do a lot of work at the UN, and here's the problem. You take those standards, for instance, the president's made the change now in the Human Rights Council, so the United States is going to join the Sudan and Cuba on a Human Rights Council. That's been not the policy for 2 decades. We've now changed that. That danger, and to me it's significant, is, again, it's subservient to our national interests. And what happens is the international norms take over the U.S. norms. And the danger on that, and the justices have said, be very careful when that starts happening, because American sovereignty is at risk.
Real quick, I just have to say this because we have to cut for a break, but the New York Times made this whole thing about he never called for Sharia law. I never claimed he called for Sharia law. What he was talking about, again, is transnationalism, that if this is something that is starting to grow around the world, well, then the world is moving that direction, and we move as well. That is what transnationalism means. Oh, right or wrong?
They're doing that absolutely, they're doing that in the United Kingdom right now. They are applying Sharia courts. So it's absolutely that standard. But and there you talk about the American people should understand what that means long term for Americans' domestic interests.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Listen to me, America. I have never ever felt this way before, ever. And I started to feel it in the last couple of years, and now it is so strong. I'm telling you, you are being lied to. You are being lied to. If the people at the New York Times don't know what transnationalism is, well, then maybe they should be fired or just wait until their paper closes, which is probably going to happen soon. Or they're lying to you. This is what it means, that if the world is moving in that direction, then we should too, and we'll all just play happy together. It's dishonest what's going on.